Hello everyone, Shockwave here, and today I've got something a little bit different for you guys. I have a replay analysis. This is the best game I've actually played in World of Warships so far. 319,000 damage game. I will link the post-battle results in the comments below, or in the description of this video. Anyways, Vermont. Start off with the basics.
General quarters.
She is a Tier 10 American battleship, tech tree, of course. She sits atop the main line as a counterpart to the Montana, which is in the fast line split off.
Much obliged, Commander.
She's armed with 12 457mm guns, obviously. Everybody knows about the Vermont. I mean, it's kind of the big mama, and she was recently buffed, actually, just a few patches ago. She got some pretty significant buffs where her heal was cut in half. Her heal cooldown was actually cut in half, and she received much better concealment. She now has 12.6 kilometer minimum detection, and she also gets improved British acceleration dynamics. None of that is going to matter here, however. What matters here is positioning. And I think the positioning in this match is probably the most important thing, because as you'll see later, sometimes it is a good idea to put the fat guy on the outside line. So obviously, I'm going to start this game off taking a pot shot at this Annapolis. The Annapolis doesn't really know I'm here. I fired undetected. He probably doesn't have his IFA going off or whatever. And, well, the salvo I actually produced here is probably one of the better ones I've had all game. 35,000 damage with the Citadel, 5 pens, and 3 overpens. So it was really good. That Annapolis losing that much health off the bat is actually quite important. I mean, he's still going to try and get to an island position, he's still going to try and play the game, but now he has significantly less health to work with. He's going to recover most of it because he's in Annapolis, he has heals to use. But that kind of opener, and thanks to the Malta for actually lining that up for me, forcing him to turn. Give me a flat broadside. I did actually appreciate that a little bit. In the meantime, however, looking at the team lineup, I can see that they have a Kurfürst, a Smolensk, and a Zau in a division. And I see that the Kurfürst is here, and I'm detected. So I'm immediately swapping over to high explosive, anticipating the destroyers here. However, the destroyer doesn't pop in, that's when I notice Zau. And I'm thinking, ooh, free Zau. So I immediately swap back to the armor piercing. And just as my guns load, the Smolensk does actually pop up. You're going to see him pop up, my Divmate CPR in the Darien over there. Now, the Smolensk does actually pop his engine boost at the last second, so I end up messing up my lead a bit. So I only hit him for roughly 3,000 damage. However, that is enough to equalize the score between my friendly destroyer and the enemy Smolensk, friendly Daring, sorry. And so our Daring is able to disengage safely without taking too much damage. Well, he did take quite a lot of damage, around 10,000, but he was able to safely disengage regardless. So I'm going to take another shot at this, I'm going to actually take this shot at the Zau now. However, he's gotten himself into a position where he's actually relatively safe. He's not in any real danger. So he sets me on fire again, and in return I only deal 7,000 damage. So it wasn't too bad. He was accelerating. I think I did catch him on the tail end there, so it wasn't too bad of a trade. So yeah. However, now I notice something. My detection range is out to 14.6 right now because I have no what's this? I have fire taking, sorry. And the Smolensk isn't detecting it. So that tells me that the Smolensk is run. So now I can afford to take a little bit of more of an aggressive position because I'm not going to be active spotted and shot at. Spotted and shot at. I can just push up on this flank. So that's kind of the big mistake that Aklem and Smolensk made. He was basically just...
Enemy destroyer sighted.
He did the thing. He basically just ran. There was no need for him to run. I feel he could just continue to actively spot me from these battleships instead of me only being spotted while I'm shooting. Speaking of shooting things, the Kurfürst makes a turnout attempting to run, so obviously I'm going to take a shot at that. Bit of a poor salvo. I feel like I could have waited another second or so, or like fired a second earlier on his turnout. I probably would have had a completely flat broadside 2 hits, and I might have done a little more damage, but it's just nitpicking. But now at this point, you're probably noticing something. Most of the enemy team is playing this very passively. They're mostly on the what is this? They're in their own spawn, essentially. I can't really say much more than they're in their spawn. However, my intuition's telling me that the Smolensk is going to try and loop in here. He's going to try and contest this safely. We do have an Edgar in the cap, my other divmate, Paul von Lotov-Orbeck, and CPR in the Daring. Obviously, they're going to try and contest the Smolensk. So I'm going to try and reverse and get shots. However, the Smolensk is going to put himself right on the edge of this cap here, which is actually a really smart play. He can contest the cap, and if he needs to, he can just run. Our Edgar is, of course, running smoke, not radar. So I see, and you're probably wondering, I just fired the Iowa. I'm thinking, oh, it's probably just going to be an easy, like, superstructure shot. I can probably take that. The Selma was actually pretty bad, as you're going to see in a hot second. Quick second here. I hit him 5 times, and I only deal damage with 1 shot. So, overly angled, really poor shot. That's the thing with Vermont. You don't have the rate of fire of Montana where you can say, oh, I missed a shot, I'll have a shot up in another 20 seconds. No, it doesn't work like that with Vermont. You have an extra 10 seconds of reload tacked onto that. You have a whole 40 seconds between salvos. So, the way that your salvos count is by... It's mostly down to the fact that Vermont has some of the best dispersion in the game. It's 1.95 Sigma, one of the higher Sigma values of battleships. Most tier 10 battleships are between 1.8 and 2.0. Or actually, with a couple of outliers, obviously, such as Cristoforo Colombo, Yamato, Mecklenburg. However, Vermont with 1.95 Sigma, it's not just that, though. She also has access to artillery flooding room, which improves her dispersion even further. However, it comes at the cost of having this gigantic, 40 seconds. Right now it's 36.8 seconds, obviously, because I have adrenaline rush kicking in. But that's the thing, though, right? You have to have patience when shooting a target. You need to wait, you need to take an appropriate lead, and you need to basically be good at predicting what exactly your opponent's going to do. If your opponent's very good at dodging, I would say, that's just being a distraction. Look for a target that's more exposed, kill their team around them, and then you can focus them down. Because Vermont's really good at punishing everything, and it's especially good at punishing very distracted targets. Because it has this huge broadside potential. And everybody's scared of the Vermont. I mean, I'm scared of the Vermont myself because Vermont's really accurate. If your opponent lines up a really good shot, that's going to if it connects, I mean, we're talking about 15,750 alpha per AG shell, and that can really put a dent in things if you're not careful. Taking another shot, the Iowa anticipated he would actually full turn there, try to turn in. He actually did the opposite and turned out, which was a little bit interesting to me. So now, of course, I'm moving back in, trying to see if I can get a better angle on these ships in the middle, and I realized, no, it doesn't really make too much sense for me because I'm losing pressure on the outside part of the map. At this point, I noticed the carrier. Now, the enemy carrier wasn't really much of a nuisance. He actually didn't launch any fights, I think it was AFK. However, I decided to shoot the carrier anyways for a couple of reasons. One, self-satisfaction. It's a carrier. If you shoot a carrier, it's a good feel-good factor. The second reason is points. My team is down 100 points right now, and we're down 2 caps. With the third one being flipped, we're not going to be able to flip that cap. CPR is going to be able to step onto that cap pretty shortly at B, but they're still small in there, he can't really actively contest it. And we're actually about to lose our third cap here. However, I'm shooting this carrier because I know he's not really actively moving, he's not actively doing anything. So if I can actually take him out, once he's detected, which I actually do, I do actually take him out, but it allows my team to recover some points, and it gives my team some more time to actually reorganize and start pushing in. It gives CPR some time to basically not rush him. It gives my divmates time. I don't want to. Basically, gives my divmates and my other teammates time to think. Gives them some time to recuperate, regroup, etc. Basically, give us time to win the game. Now I notice, however, that the enemy team has noticed my presence wide on this flank, and they're probably thinking, oh, it's a free launch, it's a Vermont, right? And to an extent, they're correct. And this is where I know this is where I decide to make my turnout. I decide, you know what, I don't want any part of this just yet. I decided to make a turnout here and not, you know, involve myself any further. However, I noticed that the Zao is actually trying to push and get angles on me. He probably has his priority target going off, saying that, oh, the shit that Vermont's aiming at me. I anticipate his turning, and I hit him for around 20,000 damage. Now this is where I noticed to knock him off. He's, again, AFK, the Malta's spotting him, or I think the Holland is actually spotting him, because our mad lad in the Holland, God bless him, he's going down the one line, actually, and he's trying to basically do the same thing that I'm doing. He's trying to sort of box them in, which is, to his credit, is a very smart play. In doing so, he's actually actively spotting the knockout, which allows me to take this absolutely beautiful shot at him. Just give it a second. I'm panning around a bit, but just look. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is an easy 4 Citadels and an easy 180,000 damage, and that's a full health knock him off. Again, you guys will be able to see in the post-game results I will post down below. So now my team has a little bit less pressure on them to actually get points. We're pretty close on points now, 577, 581 to 598. The enemy team is, of course, still ticking up more on points. The Small, Aquilem and the Small, Bonky guy, I probably mentioned him earlier, has been spotted. Of course, and he's been forced out of the cap by our Edgar reversing in and Malta's potential spotting. However, he went undetected, so I was able to take a shot at him, so I instead decided to take a shot at the Curvers. It was a bit of a weird shot, again, went a bit high, 15,000 damage only. But now look at my positioning. This positioning is probably the most aggressive positioning I've taken in a Vermont, but it's actually going to turn out to be very effective, because the enemy team is now boxed in. They're boxed in by both our Holland, and they're now boxed in by by me, and my team is actually going to be able to sort of push back. Of course, there's a few caveats there. I have a Thunder that's on the one line. I have, or not the one line, I have the Thunder that's on the J line. My Roan and my Hizen are in a really bad spot. And yeah, I mean, it's not really sure what our team is doing. The Ohio beaches, so of course I want to take that easy shot. And it's not for kill stealing or anything, I'm not trying to pad, I'm just trying to give my team a little more time to work with. That's the second kill on the board, that's 207,000 damage. So, pretty good game so far. You're probably wondering, well, Shockwave, how the hell did you get 300,000? Well, you'll see in a hot minute. So, now I can basically do what I want here, because I have no more pressure.
All forces, provide cover for that target.
I know that the Smallland is going to try and go after the Holland. The Holland was spotted, so the Smallland will be like, okay, I have to get this guy out of my backfield, or he's just going to be a really big nuisance. That lets me do kind of... You probably saw that the target lock once the Curvers, I actually locked onto the line there. I think it's like a...
Enemy battleship sighted.
That's a bit of a bug. I shot the lion, actually, it locked on, but I think, you know, Shell's going around, so a bit weird. And I think the line was also actively turning, so I completely missed that. However, I see that the Curvers is now pushing in. He's thinking to himself, well, I can't really do much, I might as well go in, see if I can make a difference, yada yada, try and take out this Edgar, then the Hizen. He's probably got some sort of weird hero play lined up. Of course, he's forgotten about the fact that I'm right here, and even if island aiming is a bit weird, I can still curveball it over an island with these guns. It's not really curveballing over an island, it's just, you know, I'm just trapped here. And... Oh, 6 penetration, by the way. I think he was saturated enough to the point where it didn't really... I think, yeah, no, he just died, because 6 penetration would have killed him anyways. 1 full penetration from the ship will do 5,000 damage on an unsaturated target, so that is, yeah. Now my adrenaline rush is, of course, ticking over, which is really good. And this is where the Iowa actually makes the same mistake. I'm looking for a shot on that Zao, then I noticed that the Iowa is actually like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can run and take care of the small, right? So it makes a full turn here, and I'm like, why? He knows I'm right here, so I was a little bit dumbfounded. But in any case, yeah. Vermont. It will do things. That's the second death strike. I'm actually going to get a third death strike in a short minute here. On that Zao. You guys will see that as well, and it's basically going to be the game. I don't like spoiling things, but, you know, that's kind of how it goes. And now, so of course I'm going to focus my attention on the Zal now, and
Nice work.
my immediate instinct is of course to shoot the Zal, because the Smalm can actually, Holland and the Smalm, let them trade. The Zal's going to shoot the Holland Holland's going to die because there's just two of them and they're just ganging up on him. The best thing I can do, of course, is try to give my Holland a little bit more breathing room. He's dead, but I took out the Zal. That's the third Dev Strike of the game, and that's 308,000 damage. I'm going to take one more shot at this Lion, and that's basically going to be all the damage that I did in this game. And yeah, also, you probably noticed in my poll saying, you know, well done to the our carrier. He actually, his spotting actually allowed me to kill the Iowa. He allowed me to kill pretty much half their team, or almost half their team. I got a Kraken, and yeah, that's basically all the damage that I'm going to do this game. I get like one more on that line. He makes a full turn trying to escape from me, but in doing so, he's given full broadside to the rest of my team. I guess he just didn't want to die to me. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically all the damage that I do that game. 319,896 damage, 3 Dev Strikes, high caliber, Kraken Unleashed, and of course the division medals. I got a strike team, a general offensive, and a shoulder. So that was pretty goddamn spicy. Anyways, again, I will have the post-battle results linked in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll also have my Twitch link down below. You guys can come watch me stream whenever I stream. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. Take care, and I will see you next time. Shockwave out. Alright, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Alright. Hello everyone, Shockwave. Alright. Hello. What? 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 Alright. Got me. Ooh! Woo! Easy. Oh, this ship is fucking memes. I don't have a reload. I loaded! Oh my god. Okay, fine, whatever, I'll just torp you instead, because your teammates are incapable of actually shooting me. No. Okay. Oh, he's one of those. Oh, he's using tiny temps. Oh, he's. Okay, cool. What the fuck is this? One dead. Memes! Oh, I fucking love this ship. Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead now, boys. Like, go fuck yourself, honestly. Right, hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. more or less one spot. I spot their carrier, and it's like, carrier, you know, shoot it. That's just the mentality. If I see a carrier, I have to shoot it. And of course, if I do shoot the carrier, I mean, it's a bit of a waste of shots. Like, I could be taking shots at, like, say, the Ohio right now, which is what I do. I eventually do end up switching to the Ohio after the carrier. However, I see a carrier, I have to take it out of the match. I don't even think he's launched any planes. He might be AFK. I haven't really seen any strikes going out from him, so he's probably AFK. So, which is probably, now looking back on it, I think that's probably the reason why the enemy team was being so passive, because they didn't have any carriers spotting. I see the breast, and he's reversing out of the air. So of course I want to take a shot at that. Of course I didn't take nearly enough lead. He was also actively turning, so yeah, that shot completely missed. I needed to take like an inch more lead, and that probably would be it. Right now, with having so many ships in one area, and I'm being perma-detected by the perma-spotted by the squad. Zhao slows down. I anticipate him slowing down and gliding a little bit further, and I lead my shot accordingly. And I do actually hit him with one Citadel and 4 pens, so that's roughly 20,000-ish damage, or like, yeah, roughly 20,000 damage. And that's when I spot their carrier again. Our carrier, the enemy carrier, is finally getting detected. Both my deadmates are still alive, doing a pretty good job of surviving, absorbing damage, and doing spotting. So obviously I'm going to take a shot at this carrier. He now he's giving me a relatively good angle. So of course I'm going to shoot. And the only reason I shot the carrier here was because I had no other targets. So just a flat broadside carrier.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Long range Vermont dispersion, of course, never letting me down with a beautiful quadruple Citadel to finish.